Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Lunch and Learn, all about the basics of SEO. So this is a very high-level overview of what SEO is, why it's important, and some quick tips on how to get started. So my goal with this presentation is that you walk away with at least one action item that you can implement right away. Real quick before we jump in, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Amanda Stein, mom to 3 crazy boys and a crazy Bernese Mountain Dog. I'm obsessed with interior designs and I update my home all the time. I'm passionate about writing and I love cooking for my loved ones. So I live in Brookfield, which is a suburb of Milwaukee, and I've been in marketing for about 20 years in all different capacities. All right, enough about me. On to the main event. All right, so first of all, we'll talk about what SEO is. So SEO, or search engine optimization, is all about making your website more visible on search engines like Google or Bing. It's one of the best ways to drive real engagement for your company because it allows people to find your website organically. It boosts your website authority and credibility. Plus, the higher you rank on the page, the more likely you are to get clicks, which helps you build even more trust over time. All right, so next we'll unpack why SEO is important. All right, we have let's get to that page. We have just 4 main points to talk through here. So there are certainly more reasons why SEO is important, but these are 4 that are really good when you're just getting started. So first of all, SEO creates better visibility. And better visibility means higher rankings, which then means better brand awareness. So additionally, SEO optimizes for long-term visibility. So unlike paid ads, right, that get removed once you stop paying, SEO efforts can really generate continuous traffic over a long time. Next up, we have credibility. So if you're like me, a lot of people, I rarely scroll to the end of the page of search results. I figure that the companies near the top know what they're talking about, and I'll usually click on a few of the links like in the top 10. So similar to me, most users will equate higher rankings with more expertise. On top of that, search engines like Google prioritize relevant, authoritative content, which strengthens trust with potential customers. So all good things, right? Better credibility equals lots of good stuff for SEO. It's also cost effective. SEO leads generate more conversions over time because they are organic and not tied to paid advertising. So as we talked about a little bit before, like while advertising can get a really quick boost of impressions and clicks, which is great, and there's a place for that, oftentimes those clicks, they don't necessarily convert, or if they do convert, the lead is not super qualified. So while SEO does require an investment of time, it's also much better at creating long-lasting results and more qualified leads. So this makes it much more cost-effective. The more you put in, the more you're going to get out in the long run. And lastly, SEO gives you a competitive edge. So, right, as we've just mentioned in the 3 reasons above, SEO makes your organization and brand much more visible to potential customers. By optimizing content and targeting relevant keywords, you can attract more traffic, position yourself ahead of competitors who may not be as strategic with their online presence. So all good things, all good reasons to get started. All right, so on to the main event of the presentation. We have 6 easy, quick tips to get you started on your SEO journey or level it up if you've already started. Let's dig in. So first up, we have keyword research. Keyword research is, well, the key to SEO strategy, but I personally find this to be the trickiest. A few things to keep in mind as you start researching keywords. Search the way your target audience would search, not the way you would as kind of like an industry insider. Use empathy and step back into your target audience's mindset to anticipate their search queries, including questions, the problems that they face, and using casual language that they might use. For example, If your nonprofit helps with disaster relief, you might want to make use of terms like how to help after a hurricane or local volunteer opportunities, instead of something a little more technical like disaster recovery donations. The key is to think about the language as a concerned individual or potential volunteer, not just the way you kind of describe your business. Another thing to keep in mind as you're doing keyword research is there are a lot of great tools out there that can really help you better understand what your audience is searching for, because otherwise it's really like a needle in a haystack, right? So a few tools that I find helpful are Google Search Console, which is free. This tool allows you to see what keywords people are already finding on your site, and it can also help you identify missed opportunities. For example, like what search terms you're almost ranking for, like it's getting some impressions but really no clicks, and that way you could optimize that keyword further. For example, you might discover people are finding your site using terms like donate clothes near me or volunteer at food bank, and that will allow you to optimize your content based on what's already driving traffic, right? That low-hanging fruit, we love that. The other tool is Answer the Public. So this helps you discover long tail keywords by showing questions your audience is actually asking related to the topic. So this is a really great tool. I love it. It can guide content ideas and make it easier to optimize SEO. It can also reveal that people are asking questions like, how can I help? Certain questions, right? How can I help refugees or where to donate books? So this insight will be invaluable as you can now address these specific needs and questions that people have that align with your personal mission. You can also add tools and use them like SEMrush and Ahrefs to perform competitive analysis and or use Google Trends, which allows you to identify trending keywords over time. So this shows how the interest in keywords fluctuates seasonally, helping you time your campaigns more effectively. So when someone is more interested in where to donate books, maybe at the end of the school year, you can ramp up a campaign around that. You also want to focus on search intent. So keywords are important, but just as important is the intention behind those keywords. So why are they searching? Are they looking for information? Do they want to make a purchase, or are they just kind of shopping around, comparing options? So here's a good example. Someone might search how to reduce plastic waste, and they're likely in the informational stage. They want to learn how they can help. However, perhaps someone searches for nonprofits accepting donations for ocean cleanup, shows more intent to act or donate. So you can tailor your content to these different intents to also improve engagement and then ultimately conversions. Keywords come in both long tail form and short tail keywords. So short tail are those like broad general keywords that have lots of search volume, but are really hard to rank for as you start working on SEO. Whereas long tail keywords, they may have a lower search volume, but they tend to be much more specific and less competitive. That makes them easier to rank for, and it can often lead to better conversion rates because it's so specific from point A to point B. Example would be instead of targeting broad words like charity or donation, you might use long tail keywords like how to donate to animal shelters or best environmental nonprofits for climate change. These specific terms may have fewer searches, but they are more aligned with someone ready to take action. And lastly, in keyword research, you'll always have to track and adapt. Like with many things in marketing, it's not a one-time thing. You have to regularly see how your chosen keywords are performing. I like to use Google Search Console for this, and then adjust based on the analytics. If certain keywords aren't driving traffic, try some new alternatives. And just remember, it takes a little time to see those results. All right, next up, we're going to talk about technical SEO. So, right, this is the work that you do mainly on the back end of your site to ensure that it's performing properly and that visitors can navigate your site pretty easily. So the first component of technical SEO is site speed. So a fast website is really crucial for user experience and SEO. I don't know if you've ever been on a website and it's taking forever to load, you might just like click right off. So, right. So Google sees that and it will derank your page a bit if that happens. Also, as far as user experience, a slow site can lead to higher bounce rate. That means the visitors, like I would click away from the site because I'm impatient and I don't want it to wait for it to load. So all of that together kind of can be negative for your site. There are tools you can use for this, of course, tools everywhere. This one would be Google Page Speed Insights. I also, typically, if a website is loading slowly, you can look at compressing any larger files or images you have there, or removing plugins that you might no longer be using. All right, you also have to be sure that your website is mobile friendly. So more than half of all web traffic comes from mobile devices. Having a mobile responsive site is not an option. So most website builders that you use will include an option to preview or build your site on a desktop size screen, a tablet size screen, and a mobile screen. You can use the developer tools in your Chrome browser. It's a little more advanced, but if you have a development background, it's really helpful. You can toggle then between like lots of various screen sizes to make sure your site looks good. Or you can always do it the simple and easy way, which is to view your site on your personal phone or tablet and just make sure everything looks good as you make adjustments. You'll also want to make sure that your site is easy to navigate for a better user experience. A well-structured and intuitive navigation improves user experiences and helps search engines crawl, which means like they scan your site, and also index your site, which means they're recording or cataloging the data within your site. So you'd also make sure users can find what they're looking for within a few clicks. So you want to make sure that people aren't having to click around or click really deep to find what it is that they want immediately. One way to do that is to use really clear calls to action to help guide them, and really clear menu items at the top and actually at the footer of your web page. One way to get feedback on user experience, it might sound a little bit obvious, but I don't know how many people really end up doing it, is asking family, friends, or colleagues to visit your website. Just have them provide some honest feedback. After going on my homepage, do you understand what exactly my site does? And can you find easily what you're looking for as you're going through the site? It's a great place to start. You can obviously get more advanced from there, but it can help you just make some little tweaks to get going. There are some tools here, of course, to help you stay on top of the technical aspect of SEO. You want to regularly check your website analytics, mainly using Google Analytics. This helps you understand user behavior. And the analytics you want to look at here specifically is time spent on pages, how many pages they visit, and what they're clicking on. It helps, obviously it provides, this data is really insightful. It's really helpful to see if there's a page that either nobody's visiting or that they're bouncing out of really quickly. And then you can focus and hone in on that for a quick win. If you want to get a little more granular, you can use tools like Hotjar. I know there's others out there, but Hotjar is probably the most pertinent. This provides heat maps and, even more interestingly, recordings of exactly how users interact with your website. Hotjar was a game changer for me personally as I was working to optimize websites for user experience. So it'll show you really where people get stuck if they kind of click around and they can't find what they're looking for. So it just helps you kind of create themes based on those recordings, and then you can make updates from there. Keep an eye overall on metrics like bounce rate, like the session duration, to make sure if there's any engagement issues, and then just go back and optimize your content structure accordingly. All right, next we'll talk about on-page optimization. So this is how you incorporate your keywords into your titles, headers, and meta descriptions. First, we'll talk about meta titles and descriptions. So titles are one of the first things search engines and users see when scanning search results. So when you type in a keyword on Google search and then all of those responses pop up, the first thing you see, right, is that meta title, and then underneath of it is the meta description. So you want to make sure that you include your keyword in the meta title and make it as close to the beginning as you can. Just makes, signals to both users and search engines exactly what this page is about. Next, you'll want to work on your meta description. So while meta descriptions don't directly impact ratings, they do influence click-through rates. Including your keyword and meta description can make your content more appealing when it shows up in search results. Keep it concise. 160 characters is about as long as you want to go, and use action-oriented language to encourage users to want to click through and read more about the article. So an example of a good meta description is: learn how you can support local wildlife conservation efforts through volunteering, donations, and spreading awareness. Once you have crafted your meta title and description, then you can move on to the headers in your content, right? So those are all the bold pieces of headlines and text within your web page. Using them overall, just using H1, H2, and H3 tags helps break up content, makes readability easier, which is also important for SEO. H1 tags should always include your main keyword, while H2 and H3 headers can include secondary or related keywords. This makes content easier for both users and search engines to understand. Here's an example of an H1 and H2 that support it. An H1 might be more broad: how to support local wildlife. This is a high interest, overarching topic. H2 headers could then include volunteering for wildlife conservation or donating to wildlife charities. These H2 examples add specific actions that people might be searching for, such as volunteering or donating. These more targeted keywords can help the page rank for a variety of related search queries, giving it better chances to capture that traffic from people looking for specific ways to get involved. You can also use tools like Yoast or SEMrush, and there are others, to easily optimize your content. So kind of taking all of that I just talked about and kind of giving a guideline to make sure you're on track, which is really helpful, of course. When we're all doing a million things, this is just a nice way to make sure you're hitting all those key points during on-page optimization. Okay, next up, we have backlinks. So this might be one you're like, what exactly are backlinks? So simply put, backlinks are links from other websites back to your website or blog content. Backlinks function similarly to traditional PR in the digital world by enhancing your site's credibility and authority. Just like media coverage boosts a brand's reputation, high quality backlinks signal to search engines that your content is valuable and trustworthy. Additionally, just like in traditional PR, you have to make sure that you are actively seeking opportunities to get listed. So backlinks, they can appear magically, but it is important to also reach out to different digital publications that are relevant to your industry and that have maybe a little bit higher authority than you at this time. So you can do this via outreach, you can do some guest posting, or you can always create shareable content that naturally attracts backlinks. Make sure to focus on the quality of the referring domains, as I mentioned. Try to find websites within your industry they're highly reputable, rather than just the sheer number of backlinks. So that's really important. And then taking that a step further, you want to monitor your backlinks to avoid toxic backlinks. So there's a lot of these spammy or really low quality sites out there that'll just kind of glob on to new websites. So you want to make sure that you get rid of those using tools like SEMrush and others to make sure you don't end up with some penalties. And lastly, you want to aim for a diverse and natural backlink profile. That includes links from various high-quality sources. A well-rounded profile signals to search engines that your content is broadly recognized and respected. All right, slide number 11. We're going to talk about creating quality content. Now, as a content writer, I might be a little biased, but I believe this is the most important tip. When thinking about SEO, right, it can be easy to get caught up in all the technical details, basically everything we just covered previously. And of course, that's all very important. But the thing that we have to remember is that at the end of the day, there's humans on the other end of our content. So we really want to create human sounding, easily accessible content that people actually want to read. That means using language they understand and focusing on topics that matter to them. It's ideal to write your content. There's a debate on exactly, but really around the middle school reading level, right? So if people have to think too hard about the big fancy words in the page, they're less likely to read. So you can still get across important, complex content using words that are simple and easy to understand and comprehend. So an example of creating content that focuses on topics that matter to your audience, if let's say your nonprofit works with environmental conservation, you can create content that addresses concerns your audience is passionate about, like how to reduce plastic waste or simple ways to support reforestation. A lot of times I see companies falling into the trap of promoting what they want to promote rather than what their target audience is looking for. So just keep that in mind and make sure that you're always kind of recalibrating and refocusing on what it is that your audience wants. One way that I personally find makes it easier to do this is by always writing, or as often as I can, writing in the second person, using you as the subject. By doing that, you can really you can like kind of let yourself get into your audience's shoes and feel their perspectives, so you can make your content really relatable, personal, engaging, and relevant to their needs. All right, and last tip for this webinar is that you have to keep your content fresh. So keeping your content fresh is crucial for maintaining engagement and improving SEO. Regularly adding new content, such as blog posts or updated program pages, helps ensure that your site remains relevant and informative. So one way to start is just performing a content audit, kind of dumping all of the content that you have on your website and going through it with a fine-tooth comb. That way you can evaluate what pieces need updating, repurposing, or maybe even removing it from your site to stay relevant and effective. A couple like specifics of how you can refresh your content. So one is revising your old content. Like, so let's say you have a blog from a few years ago and you realize that the information has changed. Maybe it's been updated. You can just simply refresh the blog with new data. You could add some new insights or even refresh it with some new keywords that you've researched and found that your audience is searching for. So rather than recreating the wheel, go back to that old content and see if there's something that you can use that would be, another one of those low-hanging fruits that can reap really quick rewards and feel good. Also, feel free to leverage AI tools like ChatGPT to help with content creation. Use these tools responsibly. We're not going to get into it on this call, but just generating content straight from ChatGPT and copy and pasting it to your website will really hurt your SEO. So use ChatGPT to generate new ideas, kind of rephrase existing content, or maybe to do some research on what has changed in your industry. So that is the end of our quick tips for SEO. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm so happy I was able to share all this information with you. And I really, truly hope you were able to glean at least one actionable item that you can apply to your business and to your website. Take a look at our future trainings. We have many more coming up this year, lots of good information in all of these. So we hope to see you at another one. Any questions? I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, we can sign off.